What's up, everybody? We are live and we are back. Pew, 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 pew. What's up, young Josh Morgan? How you feeling, sir?
Doing great, Mike.
Good. Josh Money Morgan in the building. And speaking of that, we are back at Peak Nutrition in Oklahoma City. We are back in the building. Excited, man. Just to be, back at the business house. We didn't have the man here last week. So what have you been up to? How are things, bro?
Had a car problem.
Mm.
And the guy who works in my car, he lives in Tulsa, and he had to come down on Thursday night to diagnose it.
Ooh.
Something happened, and now it's in Tulsa because I can't risk it. So I got the car there, but I'm just doing the same stuff, working on my car and walking to work like a high schooler.
That sounds like I make over $100,000 a year and I walk to work. It's lovely. It's awesome.
I live a mile away on purpose. I didn't that wasn't an accident. My dog is so full of energy, and it's just cold. That's the part that sucks right now. She's got sweaters and she's warmer than me with skinny ass with small fur.
Don't let her run away, because then you're gonna have to write a country song about your car breaking down and your dog running away. It would be awful. So, oh man, so dealing with that stuff, good stuff too, sure. Yeah. And as we get into it, man, I wanted to ask you real fast. We got TJ from INDY. He's going to be coming up in just about 3 minutes. So we're excited for that. But what I wanted to do real fast, take a quick pause and talk to you about the season. 'Tis the season to get fat, right? 'Tis the season to put on 20 L's. We gain weight this time of year. A lot of it is just being busy, trying to get from work to the store to get the kids presents and then get home. It's also the time we slip a lot. You know what I mean? We eat candy and it's like there's Christmas candy, there's leftover Halloween candy, there's all of that leftover pie from Thanksgiving, and you grind on that stuff because you get that sugar fix, and it makes you not feel hungry. Yeah. But as we talked about it, as I learned from you, you end up doing triple the calories ultimately, and not getting what your body needs. So, and I'm the king of that. So, Joe, no judgment passed. But so talk to us a little bit about what we can do. And by the way, I'm starving, man. Is there anything here at Peak you could?
Oh yeah, I thought that. Make these cake pops.
Whoa. Cake pops.
Happy face line, you see that?
But that's the problem, right? Is that these unhealthy, sugary treats?
Yeah, I wasn't overweight on accident.
Right.
I love sweets, and I had to figure out how to make them ways that you could eat them, not ruin your diet, or how you look in the mirror, rather.
So this is a cake pop.
Yes,
is this any good for you, or is this just straight sugar as well?
It's about a fourth of a shake, so it's about 100 and. Call it 100 calories. I'm sorry, 80 calories.
Wow, that's not a lot of calories.
And it's a quarter of a meal, a colorful meal with the nutrients. So I have chicken salad, half of a chicken salad, not a mayonnaise chicken salad, but like a salad with chicken on it. It's a quarter of one of those, and it tastes like it should be not even close to healthy. It's ridiculous.
Mmm. This is good. Oh my gosh. What flavor am I doing?
That one's white chocolate raspberry.
White chocolate and raspberry. And is there protein in this? Is there anything good in here?
About 6 grams of protein in that.
Woo!
Like I said, a quarter of a shake. It's a bunch of nutrients. Basically a strong multivitamin with a bunch of protein. Some carbs and fats. Make it a meal. Make it a meal replacement, not a treat. But like that's part of this time of year, the last 90 days, it's 1/4 of the year. And people will throw out the entire quarter of the year because of Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And I call it like a F it, like they just say F it, I'll start in January. And really, it's 3 days out of 90. Let's say each holiday goes 2 days. We're going to call it 6 days out of 90. If you eat like a complete child on those days and just go back to your game the following Monday, you don't have to sweat those last 2 out of 90 days. It's not a big deal. But people will demonize themselves over a couple of days. They'll just throw out F it. Anyway, I'll wait till January and get back off. But so I'll just eat more and more and more. And so I'd help you with what to eat and what not to eat, and how to make things that they shouldn't eat as much of, somewhat nutritious like cookies and cake pops and smoothies.
And cookies and pie and all that delicious stuff, but healthy. Speaking of delicious, we've got our man. He's in the building. We're bringing him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, killing Dallas, killing the country, from comedy festivals to comedy stages to open for some of the biggest names in comedy to crushing and headlining himself. Give it up for your new friend, TJ Evans. What up, on stage?
What's going on, man? I'm glad I came on after the health conversation. I know I look like I should be built a little bit better for what all y'all got going, but that's good. I got good shoulders, so it's all
No,
right.
no, I'm chunks. You know what I mean?
Gotta start somewhere.
That's the whole
Right.
point. That's kind of the key to what I do, right? Is to bring a guy like this. He actually used to be very fat. He was disgusting at one point.
I was. It's 50 waist, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So and now he, trains boxing, kickboxing, jujitsu.
that's dope.
He gets people on the right path. And
Mhm.
the problem is for a lot of folks, your everyday Joes, it's about that habit change. You know
For
what I mean? When
sure.
you watch Shark Tank, they're like, it's all about the habit. If a
Mhm.
consumer's already in a habit and we can solve a problem, that's
Yep.
one thing. Changing the habit is where the challenge can come in. And that's where that's where that is. So I want to shout out to Emma Arnold. Want to send a shout out to Amy K. Hall. Those are the chat people excited to talk and hear about TJ. So TJ, tell the folks a little bit about yourself. Where can they find you? If I want to see TJ online, what are your handles? What do we get? How do we get a hold of?
For sure, yeah. So on Facebook, TJ Evans, and then on Instagram is TJ from Indy, and and even YouTube, TJ Evans Comedy. On there, I got a couple of things. I've been working on a series called "I Love White People," and so it's it's been where I take certain parts of my shows where I'd like to do a whole lot of crowd work, and so some shows I've been in a situation where I've had to do a lot more than intended, but it worked out really well. And so yeah, so check that out for sure. But yeah, that's where you can find me online.
Heck yeah.
Mhm.
You just posted a killer crowd work video you did on your on your Facebooks, and that was beast, man. Tell us a little bit about that story, man. What was that because being a comic, I understand
Mhm.
the vibe is a whole thing. Where you are at, the crowd you're in front of, how
Mhm.
drunk are they? How mixed race or not are they, right?
Right.
There's jokes I
Yeah.
would say in front of a mixed race crowd I would never do in front of an all black crowd, especially when I'm the only white comic up there. I'm like, I don't need to take that risk right now. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying?
Right.
So tell us about that. There's a video. If people
Mhm.
go to TJ from Indy, they can check it out right now on their Facebooks and Instagrams.
Yep.
Hilarious crowd work video. Tell us how that situation happened.
No, that situation was purely just because the dude was being an asshole, like the entire time. And it was bad because so it was an open mic that video was from, and a guy that went up a few before me, his name is Palos Freero, is that what it is? And for him, he was in the middle of a joke, fucked up the joke, and then oh, I'm sorry, am I allowed to curse on you? I don't know if
Yeah, man, say whatever
oh, okay.
you
Okay.
want, brother.
My
Okay.
bad. But yeah, so
Let's
he
find
went
out.
up and was doing his thing, and he messed up the joke. And so the guy was an older dude in the front, older black guy, called him out on it, and he said, "You messed up the joke." So we all laughed and we moved on and whatever. So he tried to go on to the rest of the joke, and the old guy was like, "No, stop, do a different joke because you messed that one up." And they end up just going back and forth. And it was one of those things where it started out real funny, but it got awkward like real quick. And so and he just wraps up his set. Then the guy after him, he initiates contact with this older dude in the front, and he thought he was going to get the best out of him. It didn't work out because that guy still dominated the conversation. So I knew I was up in a few, and I'm like, okay, well let me be prepared if he tries some with me. And so I had a new joke that I was working on, fell completely flat. It was terrible. It was one of those things where you're like, man, I think this is hilarious. And you go in there and nobody laughs at it. You're like, oh shit. And um, I tried to push it into some crowd work with that guy who was in the front. And I asked him, it was about pho, the food and everything. And so I
Yeah.
asked him, do you like pho? And he said, what? I said, pho. And he said, say it again, pho. Say it again, And so we just go back and forth. And I said, don't play with me. Okay. You got a head like a Ninja Turtle. And he literally, he did. And then went on. I think I called him Nigga Turtle, said he looked like Nigga Angelo and all this shit. And
Was he
and
black?
yeah, he was. Yeah, he
Okay.
was. Yeah. No. But yeah, no, that's what happened in that situation. Usually when it comes to like my crowd work and everything, I could keep it light with people. And usually people do want to keep it light. They don't even want you to say anything about them in the first place. So they're
Yeah.
not going to have a back and forth with you. But some people will, and you just never know for real. Yeah.
A lot of that I think also has to do with how drunk they are. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Yeah. And I don't know if he had been drinking. All I know is his wife was right there and she was laughing at the jokes that I had for him. And so I'm sure that was an awkward car ride home.
man, I find that's um, it's such a skill, crowd work and specific crowd work. Cool
Yeah.
thing about you is you're so likable. Everybody loves you. So when
Yeah,
you go
yeah.
after somebody, the crowd is on your side, and that's
Mm,
what I see a lot of young comedians
mhm,
do, where they make the mistake is the secret with crowd work is you have to keep the crowd on your side.
for
It
sure.
doesn't become a you against them. It becomes a y'all against this
Mhm.
guy or this table kind of thing. And
Yeah.
that's
Because it gets awkward when when it gets aggressive, when it kind of becomes more of like an argument back and forth and everything. And that's not the point. Comedy is supposed to make people laugh and it's supposed to make people, um, it's an escape. And you don't want to get caught up in just dumb bickering between two people and everything. And it doesn't help anybody. It literally just creates an awkward moment that now the host for the show or whatever comic to come after you, they now have to try to save the show. And or you see what happens with a lot of people for bigger acts, and when they have these hecklers that go on too far, they end up getting removed. And it's like it's fun in the moment, everybody's clapping it up and they're real happy about it. But then that's still like the thing is like, damn, why did that happen? Like, they just took a whole lot of time away from that person's set, and what they had going. And
yeah.
so,
Yeah, it makes
yeah,
sense about that event now. Like now it's about that heckler, not about the comedian.
right, exactly, exactly. And when you try to move on from it, even if you do a whole lot of crowd work, what I found in myself, and I've had to teach myself to be better about when I do crowd work, don't do too much of it because when you do, now the people don't want to hear your material anymore. They want to
Yes.
hear all the stuff that you can come up with on the fly and on the spot. And it's like, that's great that I can do that, but I wrote these jokes for people to appreciate and to make y'all laugh at, and not just the stuff that I can, make jokes about the people in the room. Because again, that stuff could get awkward too if you make jokes about the wrong person and if they don't receive it well. Yeah.
That's my kind of my heckler killer is 5-word freestyle.
Yeah.
Because when I come out and
Mhm.
do that, I'm
I
inviting
like
you
that.
and I'm going, whatever you want to yell, I am in, because it's like, don't yell, let me tell my joke, right? It's like,
Mhm.
if I yell, I take control out of his hands and I'm like,
Yep.
give it to me. I still have control, even with all of you yelling at me. I'm encouraging it. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, this is what I can do with it. So if you want to
Right.
give me more,
Mhm.
subconsciously we'll find, but you know what I'm going to do with it. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
man, that's awesome.
And I've
So
seen him do that particular as the 5-word freestyle. I've seen him do it twice at actual comedy shows. He
Yeah.
also did it at an Herbalife event one time with a much like a not comedy crowd. It was about products, and he killed that too. And it really does make an interesting effect on the room's energy, how they
Yes.
receive what they're about to hear.
it's fun.
Mhm.
Well, because I think the thing is, man, we live in TV and we live in screen world. So
Right.
we're so used to passively being entertained. So when there's
Mhm.
a real person, you get a little bored or you get a little tired.
Mhm.
They become a screen to you, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, I can see you, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's weird. You can't hide anymore. You take money to be seen. So,
And I think that's why the scene is changing so much because, as you mentioned, we're in the screen era and we're also in this era of like, everything comes at you quick. So trying to go, I mean, imagine watching somebody special and imagine people trying to be engaged the entire hour and a half some of these people are doing. And so with that, I guess it does help when you do the crowd work, but it pushes more people to do it who aren't necessarily comfortable with it and it's not their style. And that shouldn't be the only thing that's funny. Yes, you should have some stuff that's quick. You should be punching a lot in your jokes, but it shouldn't be, I gotta do some outrageous stuff. I got to fight somebody in the crowd and then get right back to the comedy, or, throw, I don't know, just random stuff, throw water on somebody. Like, I don't need to do all this for my art to be appreciated. It can
Yeah.
still be funny, and I can be, I'm trying to think of somebody who's like seriously like, or like deadpan, kind of monotone, you know,
Stephen
they can
Reinick.
exactly. So they
Yeah.
should still be able to get their jokes off with having to be a person, without having to be that person that's all around on the
So
stage.
I know that that does happen. That there's hecklers that cause physical altercations inside comedy shows. I know
Sure.
that it does happen. I, I, how often does it really happen that someone really causes a big scene?
Um,
One in
from
10 shows, 100 shows type scenario.
from like what I've seen, I've only had really one serious altercation, like one, and it wasn't like a fight or anything. No, it was a lady. She wanted to go back and forth and literally wanted to have a debate in the middle of my set. And it was just so confused. I ended up walking her though at the end of the performance. She ended up walking out, and everybody in the room started applauding when she was leaving out. But no, I would say, you know what? Because I mean, Mike brought it up. I don't try to be offensive to anybody. I try to be nice, and I smile a lot. The whole set is very lighthearted, so I don't try to go there with people and try to offend anybody. So it usually takes. I don't know. I would say it takes a real asshole to be upset during my set, and then for it to turn into something where it does ruin the show. I see for other people, I would say most crowds nowadays, they usually will get quiet before they'll say anything.
Okay, so
So,
on that topic, I saw
mhm,
a. This is totally to third. I saw a video of a guy who's a transsexual male,
right.
born male, female, and he goes to restaurants
Mhm.
and videotapes the waiters.
Yes, I
And
just saw this.
yeah,
Yes.
and instigates them to do that sort of thing.
So stupid.
Now, would you feel like is it? I know it's possible, but how probable is it that someone comes to the show
Mhm.
knowing they're gonna fuck with your shit?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there's people that will definitely come out to make the night bad. I think truly the guy that we were talking about earlier, from
Mhm.
that open mic, who I had to go, who I made jokes about. I think that was really his purpose, because he had did it to so many different comics throughout that
Yeah,
night. And so I think that was genuinely his purpose. And in reference to the video you brought up, like that bothered me, because you're expecting the world to turn and to know all these things automatically, and they don't know you from a can of paint. Like, you can't,
Mhm.
and it'd be wrong for me to make that assumption. So I'm just going to go off what I don't know, what I think the situation may be. But if I get it wrong, show me some grace and let me
Yeah,
be able to fix it,
yeah,
and be able to say, my bad, you know, I'll address you as such, as this, instead of it being, let me record these people who may not even know they're being recorded, and then put them out there like that, like they were being like evil intentionally when they weren't. They made an
yeah.
honest mistake.
It's textbook narcissism, I think.
And I think a
Yes.
lot of it, a lot of that is comedian skill. You're
Mm,
running the show.
mhm.
To me, it's a lot like, man, if I thought I was a bad street fighter and I went to a UFC match, you know what I mean, trying to get mine. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, who's fighting tonight? Well, as they're walking to the ring, as they're walking to the cage, let me jump in front of them and be like, you don't want none, you don't want none.
Right.
That dude would hit you one, knock you out, and keep walking to the cage,
Mhm.
right? It
Yep.
would be hilarious. It would be like, you're not prepared. That's the problem with comedy, is everybody thinks they can do it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Until they try.
Mhm. Right.
And so they think, oh, I'll be funny. You know what I mean?
Hold on.
Mhm.
I feel even before I knew martial arts,
Mhm.
it was more. I felt like I could fight better than I could make someone laugh. I didn't think I could do comedy. There's not a chance. If I could fight, you know, most people
Right.
can't fight. Not
Yeah.
funny either. FAFO, right?
Well, it's,
Right.
yeah, you don't run the risk of being murdered if you're wrong. you know, like fighters. You know, like if I'm wrong, I just don't get laughs. Whereas if I'm
Yep.
wrong, if I test Chuck Liddell, oh, he's past his prime. Chuck Liddell can't fight no more. He'll murder you.
Yeah,
So,
Still will, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
on site.
So, if people don't know, you're running the Dallas comedy scene. Not running it, but you're a big deal now. You're a big deal in the comedy scene in Dallas. One of the hot names. One thing I wanted to touch on, man, that I love about your comedy is it's a breath of fresh air. I love your comedy. I think it's what people need right now. You're completely apolitical. You're
Hmm.
completely out of that. You are real life. You know, and one of my major complaints is what we don't have right now, or what we don't have enough of, is a true representation of a middle class black family in America. You know, white media
Hmm.
wants to present black people as either rappers or victims most of the
Right,
time,
right.
right? And they don't, you know, and judging by the African American kids, you know, swimming in the apartment swimming pool, you know, I know that we're
Hmm.
coming together more than they want to say. We're not
For
divided.
sure.
You know
For
what I
sure.
mean?
Hmm.
That we're more together. You know, there's more love. So shout out to Emma Arnold saying she loves this. We love
Hi,
you too,
Emma.
Emma. She awesome, doing it large.
Mhm.
But
Speaking of someone who can choke you out,
yeah,
It's
she's
Emma.
actually a jujitsu a beast. What's funny is she's a little nice, like you would never ever expect her to be a monster, but test her and see how that works. You know?
No, those are the ones you got to watch out for. It's usually the tiny ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they've had to learn to fight. You know what I mean? So
Right. Exactly.
so and she does a great job of teaching kids too, by the way. But what I wanted to say back to your comedy, it's amazing because it's so funny and it could be anybody, but it's also very real to you. And you have a specific experiences and you're able to write out of that. I think that's the core challenge of any real comic is
Mhm.
taking your everyday life. I can take something that's wacky or funny, or I can take a situation like it's a horse in a tree. That's wacky, right? And that's a situation I can turn a joke into and even
Mhm.
make money off that joke and learn to tell it well. But to talk about, you know, me and my wife watching Freebie, you know, because our Netflix is expired, you know what I mean? And we'd rather go out to dinner on Friday night than pay a Netflix
Mhm.
bill. That's
Yep.
real, right? And
Exactly.
you hit that's my joke, not his, by the way, so don't judge him. But you hit it on that level of realness. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You take us into your life, and it makes us love you even more, even though you're very likable on that level. So talk to us a little bit about you know your writing process
Mhm.
and how that's come about, and how you feel working in the area you work in has helped it or moved it along, that kind of thing. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, one thing that I did before even starting comedy, I wrote for 3 years, and so just took time to put jokes together. Um, and you know what? Honestly, in that all the jokes that I wrote in that 3 year period, only I say maybe three or four actually worked, and I kept. And and that
did you
made
write
and that
anything else?
you
Did you
said
write
that.
any poetry or lyrics at all? Anything else while
Oh,
you're writing your?
truthfully, I did try music for a period of time. I did try that. Recorded a bunch of songs that only I think maybe four people heard, including my mother. I think that was it. But
Can you say that was part of your preparation for being the presenter and performer that you are? You that
mhm,
was one of the phases. That was one of the classes you had to go through. That was
yeah,
college. Kind of.
exactly. To be, I think my thing has always been. I've always just as a child, I've always been creative. I've always loved just coming up with stuff, and and so either that's music or that's, I was one of the Lego kids, and luckily my kids now are Lego kids, so
Yeah,
that just allows me to relive it and everything.
Lincoln
Um,
Logs for the
yeah,
poor kids.
Yep.
but
I was gonna
right,
say we could afford Legos, man. We had dollar blocks. They didn't even fit
dollar
together right.
block.
You know what I'm saying? From a tree. We had blocks in the Dollar Tree. They were called dollar blocks. You know
Dinner,
what I mean?
dinner box.
You got 10 for $1, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. No, I definitely had the Legos, had the Bionicles, I had all that. I was only child for 6 years, so you know there
Yeah.
was a period of time where all the funds was going towards me, but but and then my sister came and fucked that all up, and so yeah, it is what it is. But no, when it comes to writing, man, I don't force it. I know some people, they force themselves to at least sit down for like an hour, 30 minutes a day to write it. And nothing against them. It's just I know for me, it's more of a feeling. And so once I do feel it, I record. So I do voice recordings. And just because I know I can use my voice a certain way, and I want to remember how I used it when I was doing, I'm one of those people, I ride in the car by myself, from work or whatever, and I'm literally talking to myself. And
Yeah.
so, and I'll be talking about different things that may be going on at the time. Or thinking through just different scenarios, and I'll say it out loud, but I don't want to forget how I said it. And so, so no, I'll just do it whenever I feel the inspiration come along. It's not anything that I try to force, or do I try to talk about certain topics or anything like that. No, if it comes up, it comes up. But if not,
What's your process for when you have a random joke idea? Do you like
mhm.
how do you note it? How do you take a note?
All voice record. So I'll
Right
voice
then?
record it. Yep, right then and there. Especially if I'm driving or whatever. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to try to text it out. My finger's too damn big for all that, and so I'll mess up all the words and everything, and it won't make any sense by the end of it. And so, so yeah, no, I'll voice record. If there is something that I need to write down, more than likely it's the structure of the joke. So I know that in how it needs to evolve over the course of the joke. And so I'll write that down so I don't forget how the joke evolves, instead of it just being, if it is something short, it really doesn't matter how I say it or in the order in which I say it. But if it's something that's longer form, then I don't want to forget how I put it together.
That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Thank you.
Quick question there as well, because I do the same thing. I like the pressure, right?
Mhm.
A friend of mine, shout out James Money, comedian brother from years ago.
Mhm.
We say we write the best material an hour before our show because you know what I mean. And it's like, okay, I'm doing 20 new minutes tonight, hell or high water. I don't have 20 new minutes. So what have I
Mhm.
been thinking about? And you grind it, and it
Yep.
ultimately is six, not
Mhm.
whenever you think you have 20, you have 6 minutes if you're lucky. But it's that grind and that
Mhm.
pressure. We were talking, and he's like, man, I'm trying to learn how to like chill and just get out the pen and paper and write. And I'm like, I
Right.
just don't. That's never been. I can do that maybe with music,
Mhm.
but my wife's talking shit. She says I can attest
Listen to
to it.
this.
Anyway,
She's the
uh,
best.
but but with music, I could. You know what I mean? I still
Mhm.
do. I have a guitar. The way some guys game. I've
Yeah.
decided to invest that kind of money into guitar as far as like gaming. It's nothing that's gonna bring me any
Mhm.
money. I'm never gonna be Slash. I'm
Right.
not. You know what I mean? But
Uh-huh.
it's good for my brain, right?
Yep.
You got to look at something, and then
Mhm.
your brain has to convert that into your fingers, and then your ears have to listen to make sure that your fingers are doing the thing your brain is telling them while
Exactly.
you're reading. And
Mhm.
then I like making music the way some guys get into level 200 or whatever. I don't, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Uh, I do guitar in that way, but it's easy for me to write. It's easy
Mm.
for me to sit down and play and go, oh, okay, C, D, F minor, G, nice, right?
Mhm.
Um, but comedy, I can't. I mean, I can, but I
Mhm.
can't in that. I feel like what I'm writing, sitting down in my living room, is so far removed from when I'm on stage and I'm telling a joke, right? Do you
Right,
ever
right.
feel that way? Does that make sense to you?
That's what I try to do, is create different scenarios when it comes to performing. At least when I'm putting like a set together, like as you mentioned, you may not have anything until 20 minutes before. What I try to do is, or at least what I've seen myself having to do a lot lately, is, or what I've been, I guess maybe this is a new stage in it and learning. It's just that I observe the crowd. So I may come in with a certain set for that night, but I'm observing what is the crowd laughing at throughout the night, and building up until it's my turn to go on stage. And if I do have that opportunity, then I sit back and I'm like, okay, will this joke work for this crowd? And no. And so I end up changing things up, and I'll probably have a set, maybe, yeah, finally figured out maybe 2 minutes before, and then we'll just go up and go from there, or still trying to piece things together in my head. And even still, there may be some jokes I don't even get to because
Yeah.
crowd work may come up, or however it may go. I know this is my time. I'm going to go and do, the amount of minutes they gave me, regardless if it's written material or if it isn't. And, excuse me, but my whole goal is to make sure that I put on the best performance possible. And so yes, and I agree with you there. It's the whole process of thinking like, is it going to change up? Is it going to be something brand new? Is it going to be something that I've never done before? Or is it going to be a mix of things I have done? Just maybe I'm freshen them up. Maybe I change them a little bit.
Yeah, man. You can push. I think sometimes that's what makes jokes funnier or
Hmm.
funny or work at all is how hard you're pushing to make them go. Right?
Right. Yep.
If I couldn't punctuate my shit with energy, it would all sorry. But oh shit, man. So speaking of how many minutes they're giving you, you are headlining. You are
Yeah,
headlining a lot.
a
You're
couple places.
crushing it, man. I got to be on a show you headlined recently, man. That was an honor and a privilege.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, it was just I love working with you whenever
Yeah.
I can. But you're headlining, man. I know you got a big one coming up in a couple of weeks, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. How much time are you going to be doing? And then maybe talk to us a little bit about headlining and that
Mhm.
switch and what that is, the difference in that from where most, a lot of folks are, early in
Mhm.
their career, head featuring opening MC. So
Exactly. Yeah, I think so when it came to doing headlining, I didn't get to do it for the first time until 2022, I think it was. And I think that was probably was that my third year, second or third year, in was starting to do my first like headlining set. And that first set that I did was 35 minutes. And but that was taking all the material that I had been working on over the course of 2, 3 years. And so and just putting it together and hoping that it all makes sense together.
yeah,
And so, yeah, and it was fun, man. That was with that first time, I had a live band on stage, so I got to do a joke with them, using them in a joke and everything, which was really dope. And man, I wouldn't change nothing about that first one. That first one was was a good experience. Do I feel like I was fully ready to be, headliner at the time? No, but I'm glad I did it. You know what I'm saying?
who is, man? Who's
Right.
ready the first time, right? No one.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about it. Yeah. So
That was the best part about it. And yeah, but so for now, I have been, having a few more opportunities, been out to Oklahoma, and headline a few times out there. And then, yeah, what's coming up on the 16th is my first country club. I've never performed in a country club before. So that's going to be dope. Right. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, no, I was so surprised by it because the guy who hooked me up with opportunity works with my wife, and always loved my stuff and was like, I want you to come do it at the country club. Literally been talking about this for like a year and a half, and I'm like, yeah, every time he brings it up, I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll see. And we were at a UNT game, football game, and he had tickets. He's Mr. Denton, like out in Denton County, everybody knows him. And so so he ended up getting us tickets in the box at the UNT game. So we're there, and he introduced me to one of the programmers for that country club. And he was like, yeah, this is TJ Evans. He's an up and rising, comic here in Dallas, and I want him to do a show. And the guy was literally like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than that, and everything. And it all came together. But what I really appreciate is that I was able to bring my own people
crew.
that,
Yeah.
and do the show. And so that, because the plan is it's produced by me and I'm headlining it, but I want this to be a reoccurring thing. I want it to
Right.
be something we're doing every 2, 3 months at this location, at their sister country clubs, and all of that, their whole network. I want it to be a regular thing so that I can bring talent from all around Dallas to Oklahoma, from Oklahoma, and
Just
everything.
me.
Right.
No.
Just nobody else.
You know what? If I bring them, we can,
Yeah.
give them a free five. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And if you love them, we'll go from there. But no, there's nobody
Exactly.
else to do it.
But yes, no, I know. But no, that's what I want to be able to do, because that's the other thing I love outside of performing is producing, because not only do I like being on stage and being able to, I usually host the shows that I produce, but I love being able to provide opportunities and be able to put together a fire lineup. Like,
Yeah.
for some people, you know, they may think it's weird. They may think as a comedian, my favorite thing would be getting that laugh. No, I love being able to put this perfect group of people together and they get all the laughs possible out of that crowd. And that right there, I don't know if that's me being a Lego kid again or whatever and just putting things together, but that's what I get satisfaction from, is putting together a great production and then being able to duplicate it. Let's do it again. Let's do it different venues. And let's put other people into it, that kind of thing.
Well, and yeah, but you get, it's almost like get to produce different shows, right? Like
For sure.
you know, you're like, okay, I got my rock star high energy guys, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or I got
Yep.
my low energy guy that I'm high
Mhm.
enough energy. If I put a high energy guy before him, you know,
Mhm.
people will want that breath and listen to this maybe lower key dude who's hilarious, but it's
Yes.
hard in our, you know, fight it out venue, slug it out for your lap venues that we do for a guy like this to really get over. But if I
Mhm.
sandwich him right or set him, I love that, man. In fact,
Yep.
to the point in my last 2 or 3 shows, I haven't even put my face on the flyer because I know I'm the glue. I'm not worried about it.
Mhm.
Whatever the show
Like that.
needs, I know I can get in there and be that guy.
Yeah.
Same for the head, you know, you set up your headliner. And
Mm.
side note, I've tried like 4 times to book you, and you've been already booked. That's how busy you are.
No, man.
You are on my list. You and Honeybee, a wonderful comedian out of Tulsa. Her name is
Honeybee.
Honeybee.
Yeah,
Honeybee
yeah.
Brown. I
Mhm.
want to put you two on a show, and it's gonna be fire. It's just,
That
it'll
sounds
be,
great.
and that I want to do that maybe January. I'm going to New Jersey in February to do some stuff.
Dope.
So either maybe March when I get back, or January if I can get it together.
Let
So
me know,
probably
man.
maybe more March because this is gonna be one of
Mhm.
those bigger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, tickets online, promotion shows. So when I
Mhm.
bring you, I'm gonna bring you right. You know what I mean? We're gonna do it. So,
I
uh,
appreciate that, man.
speaking of, man, you made the right call in the podcast. Damon Detroit, our man Damon. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He just put in his 2 week at his day job after headlining
Ooh.
for me. I was like, I'm gonna blow you up so much, man, that other people are gonna call and they're gonna see. And guess what? It worked. So
Ah,
PT
yeah.
Pod for all you comics. You know what I'm saying? Right on the edge, right on the
Yep,
edge.
right.
Here's that. Like that? Yeah, sure.
Right,
You know
right.
what keeps me here is my muscle, just in case I say some dumb shit. So, um, speaking of fire lineups, man, in the Dallas area, one of the top 10 markets in the United States,
Yeah.
and Austin adjacent, which, you
Mhm.
know, as we know, Austin is considered the hottest city for comedy in the United States right
For
now.
sure.
Although I hear it's got the 90s LA vibe. I personally know
Mhm.
people living out of their trucks and their, you
Mhm.
know what I mean, in their
Mhm.
vans, you know, hitting the open mic circuit, doing what they can. It's very similar to LA back in the
Exactly.
day. So that's how Austin is right now.
Mhm.
Also, you know, the problem with stuff like that is there becomes a very heavy gatekeeper system. One
Yeah.
thing I really like, I mean, there's gatekeepers in all entertainment, but one thing I like
Mhm.
about Dallas is a guy like you know what I mean? I was able to do stuff around the area as well.
Yeah.
It's still open enough, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh,
Mhm.
it's not this guy or this guy or this guy's show. No thanks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like nobody super famous may bump in and give me a headlining gig. No, you know, put me on the multi-million person listening podcast. No, I won't. So you know, you get that weird kind of bottleneck, if you will.
Right.
Whereas Dallas is still like, if you can bring it, we
Mhm.
got time for you. We need talent. So
Exactly.
speaking of the talent and the awesome talent going in around the market, and
Mhm.
you putting on great shows, tell us about some folks, man. Who should we be paying attention to, other than you, of course, TJ?
No,
You know what I mean?
dog, I tell you, man, it's so much great talent out here. Big shout out to one of the just most genuine people I think I've met in comedy. His name is Trey Mack, and he's not even from around. He's not from Dallas. I believe he's initially from Alabama, and he's moved through there, through Shreveport, and then here in Dallas, and he's now going to have a headlining weekend. I think it's 15th to 16th at Dallas Comedy Club. And
Wow,
to
nice.
see his ascension, I mean, he's done a show with Kevin Hart and things like that. Like he's phenomenal and opened up for some really big acts as well. And so that's definitely somebody to watch out for. One person that we performed with before, Ehoma, just the one name, and I love that too. Just the one name, Ehoma. She is phenomenal. And she's only a year and a half, maybe a year and a half, but she's capitalizing on what she looks like and takes it and does material that's completely opposite of that, which is perfect because you should. Because in comedy, nobody likes a attractive comedian. Like nobody likes likes a comedian that's too good looking. And shit, you see what happened to Matt Rife? I mean, he women were loving him and everything, and then he put out his special, and I think the joke that he made up at the top was a kind of a domestic violence joke. I get where he was going with it. I think it could have been written a lot better, but at the end of the day, it's a joke. I don't think that he truly feels that way or he responds like that to women. But you know, that in that moment right there, you got a really attractive guy, and they saw, oh, he's not just good looking. He actually has different words and opinions and things like that. It's like, yeah, stop putting people up on a pedestal, because in comedy, we should be able to address just about anything as long as it's funny. And so,
Comedy is where you go to be offended.
yes, right.
Seriously, comedy is,
Yes.
man, my heroes are your Carlins. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
even your Bill Hicks to a certain extent, which I
Yeah.
I used to idolize the guy. I've kind of pulled out of that. But
Mhm.
your Pryors, your Carlins, the guys who even Chris Rock
Yeah.
and Dave Chappelle don't get the credit for this, but you go to get your mind stretched. You go to get out of your
Mhm.
echo chamber. This comedian is traveling around the world
Exactly.
dealing with, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people on a yearly basis. They've got their
Mhm.
ear to the ground. And then you've got that comedy viewpoint. We observe people. Our brains naturally work
Mhm.
differently.
Yep.
So you're there to get your idea, the illusion of choice that George Carlin came out with.
Mhm.
And now
Mhm.
people have entire podcasts, the industry's built off that bit.
Yep.
But he was the first one to bring that out, man.
Mhm.
I think about Carlin bringing the reality of heroin addicts and the drug reality of,
Mm.
of big cities to life.
Mhm.
Man,
Yep.
this is if we can't do it here, where can we do it?
Right.
Also, just like if I paint something and you're like, ooh, I don't like the color purple you used in that
Mhm.
painting, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, okay, cool, but this is my painting. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's not,
Mhm.
you're not going to ban me or tell me I can't use this color because you don't like it. You're going to have to go find another painting or even another artist. I got a
Exactly.
lot. Yeah, I got a lot of jokes. So,
Yep. Mhm.
yeah, I mean, the joke he said was, for lack of a better term, hacky, because it's a joke I've
Yeah.
heard 100 times. Go
Exactly.
back to
Yeah.
the kitchen. You know what I mean? What do you tell a woman to
Yeah.
put two black eyes? That kind
No.
of shit. Which, I mean, it's funny on its face, but if you're Matt Rife, if you're the most Googled and watched comedian like on the
Yep.
planet, it's to come out with
Mhm.
that, and that's your big swinger. You know what I
He's
mean?
fine. He's
I
about to do
don't.
a podcast with, who is it, with Rogan and Jordan Peterson.
Oh shit.
And
He was on Jordan last week.
but him, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and Rogan are about to do a thing together. I
Oh.
don't know if Matt Rife is involved, but I know for sure Jordan
Yeah.
Peterson, the other three. But
Mhm.
I thought he was involved in that somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey
Yeah.
man, anything we can get, dog. Trust.
Right.
If Rogan is doing it,
Yeah.
and Peterson is doing it, there's going to be minimum 4 million
Yeah.
eyes on it.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh,
I
for
mean?
sure. Yeah. And I
So,
think just to speak on a little bit more with Matt, I think, I don't know, in that moment, man, you know who your audience is. And so to me, I'm like, don't fuck this up. Regardless of what you may think is really funny in this moment and everything, do you want to maintain this or not? And I'm not saying that, it's got to be the whole thing. I'm doing it for the fame and whatever, but it's like you have this position that you've been working really hard to get to, and you're gonna mess it up over a joke
When
that
I
has
was in
been
college,
told.
I took a public speaking class, and the teacher was
Mhm.
Governor Frank Keating, Oklahoma, his
Hmm.
speechwriter.
Yeah.
And the very first the lesson I learned from that class that stuck with me more than anything is he said, no matter what you're saying,
Mhm.
know who you're saying it to.
Yep.
Know your crowd, or you're gonna sink.
Mhm. Yep.
And that just pays off. Like he made the mistake. He knew his crowd, but he
Mhm.
still made statements he probably shouldn't have.
okay, and
Yeah.
not to be the counterpoint guy, but
Do it.
as an artist, you can feel like you get locked in to a thing. Matt
Right.
Rife was locked into Pretty Boy
Mhm.
Vanilla wafer pretty boy comic. He's
Yep.
sexy, without his shirt on, he's even more appealing,
Yep.
unlike every other comedian.
Never mind, it's funny as shit. Doesn't matter, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right?
Well, and I
Mhm.
thought his comedy was average. I was like, I don't love
Yeah.
it, but I'm not going to seek it out. Although I will say this Netflix special, in my opinion, was
Mhm.
his best overall project of the
For sure.
three, right?
For sure.
So, but I think he felt locked in. You know what I mean? In the same way that imagine if you're a one-hit wonder, and you got to play that one
Mm.
song,
Creed.
Yeah, Dishwalla. Imagine if the Dishwalla, we sell blue cars or whatever they're, I don't know. Or Coldplay had 3 or 4, but you know what I mean? Like you're a one-hit wonder band, right? With Butterfly, come my lady, come my lady. Anyway, that dude, and you have that one song,
Mhm.
and you want to break out and do something else. I think with Matt, if you look at his money, he's already like sold out his tour that he
Dope.
released, and within 4 hours it's sold out, which
Wow.
means I think all in, I think it meant 14 million for him because he got a bonus if it's sold out.
Wow.
Yeah, so you get to that point where you look at your bank account and you're like, I want to do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everybody's working around me, and I know he's in that chamber now
Yep.
because he makes a lot of people a lot of money. So they're kissing his ass, telling him everything he does is funny. That's the thing that
On that
keeps people
topic,
real.
Elon just did this. He told them he was going to try and leverage him to fuck off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I did see that. Yep. And you got to stand on your principles. I agree with you, Mike, 100%, because sometimes there's certain things it's like, no, this is what I want to say. And I don't want to have to feel like I need to, apply to this, or that I need to pander or cater to these people all the time or whatever. It's, yeah, knowing your audience, but sometimes too, you got to train your audience. So you got to show them like, hey, I'm not just going to do, as you brought up these different artists, I don't have just one song. I have a whole bunch of other songs that do not sound like that at all. That favorite one that you guys like from me. And so I want you to appreciate me as an artist, not just as the artist that wrote the song. And so, Matt Wright, he wants to be appreciated as a comedian, not just an attractive comedian who looks
Yeah.
good. Like it needs to be more to it. And there is more to him. But I get that 100%. I agree with you that it does need to be a push to show people you're well-rounded and not just one dimensional.
Now, is the best way to do that to do a hack joke? No.
No.
I agree with that. I love my favorite line you hit that there for the bike. He's like, you can't cancel me, bitch. I'm not your gym membership. I love that one. That is a very Matt Wright, you know what I mean, coming out, doing
Exactly.
Matt Wright on a different level. Man, and there's nothing wrong with going, I'm going to make $10 million being Nilla Wafer, and then, you know what I mean, I'm going to go ginger snap once I make my money. Because I know I've got a big enough market, and I'll retain enough people,
Right.
like Joe Rogan did. The Fear Factor News Radio crowd is not the JRE experience crowd, right?
Yep.
But I will say probably most of the UFC crowd that loves Joe follows his podcast, right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Person. So, yeah, man. But it is so much like you were saying. It is about finding your crowd and doing that, man. Yeah, we will check out the Homa. We'll check out the homie. In addition to that, man, tell us what are the clubs you work at regularly? Where you at? I don't want to go too much longer. I know after an hour. So, where are you working at? That kind of thing. Where can people? Do you have normal like weekly or monthly gigs you do or anything like that?
Yes, I do have a monthly gig that I do out in Saxe, Texas. It's a place called Char Bar. We do a monthly show there every third Saturday, and it's a free show. So, welcome to everybody to come on out. Shoot, kids have come out. They're not supposed to be in it, but kids have been in the building. But yeah, man, no, it's a free show. We want to provide it to. It's really in a market where there isn't any comedy. Saxe is about, I want to say probably maybe 20, 25 minutes north of Dallas. And so, and there's no comedy club out there. And so want to really create that in that venue. And we've been there for over 2 years now.
75 or is it on 35?
It's on, is that 35? What is that?
Or is it 75?
That is, I think you could take 75 to get out there. I believe you can take 75 to get there. And I think it may be you branch off of 35 as well, I believe. Not 100% though. But yeah. Right.
How about you book me to play there? I'll put him in the car and we'll come down.
There we go. See? And so like I'm for real, because now we got this next year coming up, I want to plan it out a lot more. I want to do, not saying that shit has been last minute, but I want it to be more intentional in the sense that the lineups that we're putting together are even better. The artists that we're bringing in or comedians that we're bringing in are even bigger, that have, you know, more of a fan base. I want to be able to really generate to where we're making some good money and I can pay all the comics on the show.
I got
That's the big thing.
remind me to talk to you offline. I got a guy,
Yeah.
extremely controversial, like controversial on the like, you know,
Hmm.
way that he's got a national show. He does,
I think
and
I
he's
know
like,
him. I think
like
so.
yeah, like AOC has mentioned him. That's
Yeah,
how
I know
big.
exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a few of my friends in this scene have been on his show numerous times, and
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah,
Which one?
Lila Hart. Are you familiar with her?
Yeah, no, Lila. Oh yeah, I
Yep.
forgot. You did Lila's shows on the right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's trying to get his stand up on,
Yeah.
and he's booking.
Hmm.
Yeah, so and that's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
And we'll talk more offline because I don't want to do
Sure.
the thing where I'm like, oh snap, I put too much. Why the? Okay, so my wife is putting the why the eye roll, babe? Why the eye? She's giving me the because we're talking inside game. You know what I mean? She's
Right.
like,
Yep.
oh,
Inside baseball. You know, can't give too much.
anyway, you know that dude comes with a built-in pretty large audience.
Yeah,
And
he
you know,
does.
if you're down with the heat, he's down. In fact,
Hmm.
I had him booked here and lost the venue. And by the time I found
Mm,
another venue, we had to push back till next year. So yeah.
really?
Although, would you want to do that show if we could put that together in OKC?
Let's see. I would come and do it for sure. Because my thing is, I don't know. To me, this is entertainment.
Him,
People do get really caught
guy
up
in
in
question.
the whole, you know, as you mentioned, my shit is apolitical. So while I may have my views or whatever, I don't put that shit in my material because
Right.
at the end of the day, that isn't just me. That's not the only thing I can talk about. What you say? It's too much. All right.
She thinks you're funnier.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But
So,
but no, I definitely see what you're saying there in working with him. I would definitely come do the show as like an opener or feature or whatever.
well,
I will come do it.
let's give him a Friday Saturday run.
Yeah. What? Yeah,
Friday in
that'd be
Dallas,
great.
cut up on you know, Saturday, or come up
Hmm.
on and do a Friday OKC and Saturday night in Dallas and go
Yep.
home, go to your bed that night,
Hmm. Right.
kind of thing. Just
Yep.
saying. Just saying we
Hmm.
make it easy, babe. You know
It's
me, I'm on
really
the other side of it. So
yeah.
I'm on the
Exactly.
business end, which is paying off, man. I'm excited. I'm gonna be part of you know, everybody should check out Hotep Jesus and Pro 2 Call. You know, we're going to be doing some stuff in Georgia. I'm going to be doing stuff in New Jersey, and it's, you know, because of my connection with those cats, feel blessed and lucky. So, you know, everybody once again check them out. But you know, man, I sell it is why, because
Yep.
I know, you know what I mean. We know what we're
Hmm.
doing, man, and
Yep.
I love putting together shows as you do. I think it's a beautiful thing being a producer, you know, and being able to do it in a way that a lot of folks don't. Man, one thing I wanted to hit on real fast before we get out of
Hmm.
here.
Yeah.
We got about 8 9 minutes left.
Hmm.
Man, what should young comics look out for? I know recently, just
Hmm.
recently, people you know, and we'll say nameless. I'm not going to name names yet. I'm not
Hmm.
that mad, but I will say I had an entire comedy festival idea stolen from me.
Mm.
People don't return
Uh,
my phone calls. However, the exact name of the comedy fest, the exact
huh.
idea behind it that I told these guys, because
Hmm.
they work in comedy and I thought I was going to be working with them. And a very good friend can attest to it because he knows most of my moves because I
Hmm.
bounce them off him first. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because if
Hmm.
an angry lumberjack likes it, it's good for everyone. You
Yeah.
know?
No, I've been in situations like that before.
Me too, man. It's
Yeah.
not anything
Yeah.
new and it's okay.
Right. Right.
But
Hmm.
honestly, I'm more mad at myself at this late stage in the game that I would allow you know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
usually don't, you know what I'm usually so airtight that you're not going to get anything, you know what I mean? Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to get that much from me. You might be able to steal a little something,
Hmm.
and that happens all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, I'm like, I got to do more charity shows because as soon as I did a charity show, everybody's
Mhm.
like, charity show, charity. I'm like,
You're right.
hell yeah, let's feed those poor. Let spectators feed the poor. You know, let's go. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
well,
But you know what? but I don't think anybody should hold that against you or that you should be hard on yourself because it's simply just you being human. you develop connections, and you network with people and things like that, and you trust people. And I've been in situations where it's been, individual or people I've trusted who have taken material from me, and material that, I worked hard to write, and just use it. And then all you can say to me is, sorry, I had to. Like, no, that's not how that works. And so,
Or they
but
come on stage and they're like, "Oh, our stuff is so close. My joke isn't yours." I'm like, "That's my joke." You know what I mean? Like,
well, no,
that's
it's
my
even
setup.
worse.
And, yeah,
He said, like, one guy
a
who did
word
it
for word. Yeah.
said that, hey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I had to take that. And so, yeah, made it clear that that's what was happening. And so, but in those
Name names,
situations,
CJ.
no,
Name names, CJ.
absolutely not.
Was it Carlos
No, man.
Mencia?
Hey, I wish it was Carlos Mencia. Okay, I wish I'd be a lot bigger than what I am now, damn it. But but no, man. But that kind of stuff happens, and I even think it's supposed to happen, because for this to happen on, I won't even say that it's necessarily a small scale, not to down what your idea was, but for knowing what maybe that festival may be. It may not be a huge success. Who knows? Especially if it's a newer thing. And so it's going to be on a smaller scale. So with these things, these bad things happening now while we're down here, when we get up here, we already know how to move, and those things won't happen again when we're up here. These are lessons and things that I truly believe God is teaching us, and so that we're supposed to experience, and we're supposed to have them now, so that later, I won't be duped, and I won't look like Boo Boo the Fool, that kind of thing. And so that's literally what I think it's all about.
Look like who?
Boo Boo
What
the
did you?
Fool.
Oh, look at the food. Yeah, but the
Right.
food.
Yeah, it was one thing my mom used to say growing up, and I know people say it, but my mom used to say it all the time.
I just had to say it again.
Mm.
Well, and one thing to remember, we are in a creative business.
Yeah.
You live off of your creativity, your ability to create new jokes,
Mhm.
shows, lineups,
Right.
social media posts,
Yep.
whatever it is. We live in a creative business. We make our money, we feed our family via
Mhm.
creativity and how we hone it, shine that diamond, put it out to the world,
Yeah.
for sale. So if we're in a creative business and the best thing you can come up with is stealing an idea I had 2 years ago, and
Mm,
that's your big creative push for next year,
mm.
you're screwed. As far, you know what I mean? As far as like any other industry, if this
Mhm,
is all you have is my idea, and you can't come up with your own that are better, that
mm.
means that plus I know the long game. I am the long game, motherfucker. Let's go. You know what I mean? I know the long game, and
And you got
I
Josh.
would,
That's good too.
yeah, exactly. That beard is the long game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
That beard don't say nothing if it don't say long game. You know,
3 weeks.
Is that 3 weeks? No joke.
I
Really?
can take this beard off my face and it's back in a month.
Gosh, I wish. I've been
But I
growing this
lost the
since I was
hairline.
13. I've been
I had
growing
to
this
give up
since I
the
was
hairline for
13.
it.
This right here since I was 12.
you have
I'm
Asian in you.
I do actually. No, I do.
You can't grow facial hair.
Yeah.
But
My
you
mother's
have
maiden name is Shin.
you have a significant advantage. You don't crack.
Because I am black. And so I'm killing it. I'm crushing it right now. But no, man, I would say even with the whole you know, the taking of things and ideas and whatever, it's just all part of the journey. And even for the people who may have done it, we see it as a problem. Sometimes other people don't even see it. The people who did it, they don't see it as a problem. They see it as, this was an idea that I had, or, it's cool because we're friends, right? That kind of thing. And so it's not to name names or point fingers or whatever, but these things happen all the time. And that's why I even refrain from watching too much comedy, because I don't want to subconsciously take anybody's stuff. Because while I love Chappelle, I can sit and watch Chappelle shit. the reason why I can watch Chappelle's stuff is because I know everybody knows it. So if I even try to take something from him, I'm immediately going to be corrected because I took that. But if it's somebody, like certain open mics, or you go and see people who aren't necessarily on Netflix and things like that, aren't as well known, I'm cautious because I want to make sure that whatever they worked hard, to write and put together is something that stays to them, and I don't subconsciously put it into my own.
TJ,
Because, yeah.
how would you go about that properly? Like using someone's joke, is that possible to use it and give them proper credit? You just not okay. Good.
You can build on it.
Okay.
I've seen people like maybe take a concept and build, and so what they'll do is they'll credit where the idea came from, but will then make it into their own thing. And so that's perfectly fine in my opinion, because I'll do that at a show. Say if a big moment happened in a show from another comic, I may be able to put a joke together, make it a little bit, bring that moment back, one, but also to make the show just again more cohesive and a better moment. In no way do I feel like I'm stealing that joke. I'm
But it's
just,
still their joke.
yeah,
It's still
no,
their joke.
because I don't, to me personally, I'm too self-aware to know that I'm taking somebody's shit. And so, and I can try to convince myself over and over that no, I don't think they necessarily said it like this. People know themselves better than what they put on. And so, if you're taking somebody's stuff, and you got to be honest with yourself and say, I don't need it in order to be successful or to be, for people to see me as a good talent. It's not necessary.
100%.
Yeah.
Agreed. And that's kind of goes back to what I was saying about your set.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that it encouraged me to do as well is they can't steal your personal situation. Me and my wife living our life. You've either stole that joke from me, and then it's not really going to work for you. The way you tell it is not true.
Yep, exactly.
That's why I think your set works for you. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are some jokes I would never see. I just don't think like that, right? I mean, you turn that off when you're watching comedians, but
I would have to. I would have to see your jokes. I wouldn't be funny at all.
notice I didn't want to steal
You
your
got it,
jokes.
man. You got it, Josh.
I have to steal all the jokes. I'm stealing jokes. I'm stealing bad jokes.
Josh, you got a type 5. I'm sure you got a type 5
That's what I'm
that
saying.
you can get up there.
Just to just talk about, bro. This is a fun story, real fast. We're going a little over, but real fast. Story. He told me before, but I never put it together till like last week. We were talking when he was fat, Josh, right? When he was like size 50 waist. My man drove down to Dallas and went to a Tech 9 concert by himself.
By yourself.
I lived in Dallas. I was going to college there. I went to a Tech 9 concert alone.
Now, I'm not mad at you because I've been to concerts by myself too. I've done that before too, where I think
you would have
been,
like a Dolly Parton would be your like make right.
You're right.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah, right.
Dolly Parton. Fourth thumb just sticking out. I was like.
No, because at a Tech 9 concert, only reason why I think you shouldn't go by yourself is because isn't it like heavy, like mosh pits and stuff like that?
It's
like
intense.
That's what I'm
a small room, and I kickboxed. I was all right.
Oh, okay.
But, it was pretty. I was out of my element by a wide margin.
And I told him it's safe when you're the only white guy there. It's not safe when you're one of two white guys there. If you're the only white guy there, feel like I'm not catching a charge. Everybody gonna know what happened, right? We all know what to say. If you're one of two white guys, it's we getting rid of one of these motherfuckers.
I did get a lot of respect nods, like
right. As long as you enjoyed the show, right?
151 rum, pineapple juice, Malibu, Caribou,
but man, just to bring it back, man, one thing I love about your positivity is, right, man, while people steal our creativity, which is kind of like our children in a way, especially for what we do, you know what I mean? If a man builds cars, a car comes out of the factory that he builds, he's proud of that. If a funny joke comes out, if a great show idea comes out, we're proud of that because we put that together, and a lot of that comes from what we do. But what you said was so brilliant. It goes back to me talking about the pressure and you talking about the don't sweat it. You need to experience that and have those lessons. And you're right, because if you are somebody trying to do your best, you understand that may have been your best then. Let them have it. You're about to do your best. You're still striving. You know what I mean? I know you play, what is it? The Plano House of Comedy a lot.
Yeah. Plano House of Comedy, Dallas Comedy Club. Let's see, Comedy Arena.
Is there one
Let's see.
called like the Laugh Factory or something like that?
Not here. There are some in, I think it's Chicago. Is that right? Laugh Factory in
Denver,
LA.
LA.
I
Yeah,
wish
yeah,
I
yeah.
knew the name of that damn comedy
Mhm.
club. I've been to it 3 times. I cannot remember the name of it.
It's not Addison Improv, is it? That's north.
No, Addison's
Yeah.
far north of it. It's kind of in Greenville or Deep Ellum.
Around Deep Ellum. Oh yeah, that's Dallas Comedy Club.
Yeah, that's
okay,
Dallas, yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
okay.
But it was named something else before. Like they
Maybe
changed it.
so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. What was it? It was Dallas Comedy House
Maybe so.
before. But yeah, no, those places, only club I haven't hit or venue I haven't hit in the city is Arlington Improv. And just haven't been booked in.
Did you perform at Baby Dolls?
You said before where?
At Baby Dolls?
Baby Dolls. I know what that is.
I think it's a strip club.
It's the
Oh,
best
is
strip
it?
club in
Is it?
Dallas.
The best strip club in Dallas, he said. Because he's been to them all.
Right.
I have clients there that work there, man. It's business for me. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Right.
it is very much business. You would give her money, she puts her boobies in your face. That's a very
Not mine.
No, good thing we are running out of time because I would take time to talk about strip clubs because strip clubs.
Next time.
Next-
Absolutely next time.
We'll start there.
Let me post these comments here. It is TJ from INDY at TJ from INDY on your Instagrams and stuff.
Yes, sir. And then TJ Evans on Facebook.
TJ Evans.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so we know you got the country club coming up. Give us your next 3 show dates
Oh,
so
yes.
people can come see you during the holiday season.
So on the 9th, actually this Saturday, I'll be at Dallas Comedy Club. We're doing a late night show at 10. I think was it Laugh All the Way? Kind of like Jingle All the Way, kind of play on that. That's going to be a dope show. That's being put on by Sylvia McBateman, which should be dope. And then there's that show. And then, as I mentioned, the country club show is coming up. And then, we won't be back until the next year. Kind of just taking that break, that my wife has been demanding, and that my family needs, obviously, around this holiday season, and then just slow down after the country club show.
Heck yeah, man! Take a little time. That's what I'm doing, man. When you put on shows, people want you to put on shows. I'm like, man, I wish they liked my comedy as much as they like my show promotion. Man, like half
Yes.
right? I'd be freaking Joe Rogan at this point. Anyway, at least Sam Tripoli, Which, by the way, man, he played Plano, and I was gonna call you and be like, I'm coming, because Sam Tripoli is one of those guys. Steve Byrne is one of those guys. These are lesser known comics that all comics should go to see just to pay their dues to the comedy gods. But anyway, I just thought I'd have face. Anyway, so anyway, Sam Tripoli is definitely one of those guys that you go see to pay your dues to the comedy gods. I feel Steve Byrne is one as well, in that you can go back 10, 15 years and they're destroying in front of comics that we love today. Yep. And those guys were openers. Joe Rogan wouldn't have a podcast without Sam Tripoli. Steve Byrne is just the comics, crisp, hilarious. He just did some stuff in Nashville. He's probably got 20 specials. Just underappreciated. Yeah, man, it's Sam was there, and I had COVID, so I couldn't come. I was like, damn, I was going.
Yeah.
I even told Sam I was going. He's like, man, I'll be looking for you. So yeah, that was no fun, but we're back now. All right, so we got you Country Club on December 16th. Dallas Comedy Club Saturday night, correct?
Yep, the 9th. Yep. And the country club is called Oakmont. It's one word, Oakmont. And they're actually, it's open to the public too.
Oh, okay. Cool. Oakmont.
What part is the show or the country club?
You said where's it at? You said
what part is open to the public? The show or the country club?
Oh, I wish, right? Yeah, I'm gonna ask him for a membership. That's what I should have asked in the contract. I need a membership.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. Tej, is there anything you want to leave the people with? Anything you want them to know as we head out?
No, other than love y'all. Be safe out there.
Maybe.
Love you, man. Thank you. Thank God for you. We need more
Thank y'all,
TJ.
man.
I was telling him, and I believe this on my word, nuts on the table. Here it is. You're going to be watching this man on TV in the next year or two. He's either going to have his own show, have his own special. You're going to know this man is a professional, national working comedian. And I'm glad I got to say I know you win, and now it's recorded.
All right. Thank you so
Love you,
much, brother.
We'll talk to you soon.
I'll see ya.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Good night.